Well, the first time I heard about it, it was found over in the edge of Texas over here, and first time I heard about it, they said that some boys had found the skeleton of the Fouke Monster.
The length of the legs, look at the length of the feet and the heel, portion of the heel there. I don't know of any animal in 32 years that I've skinned that had a heel like that on it. It was that protruding. And the length of the joints between the legs. If the animal's 8 foot long, thereabouts assumed with the head added to it. His legs, according to that picture, has got to be 4 foot long. I don't know of any animal with a 4 foot long leg. I mean, that's just as human-like foot as you'll ever see.
The foot bones are very strange looking. Yeah, the ribs have definitely collapsed some there. I'll agree to one thing, and that's not a human pelvis. That's not a human pelvis bone, from what I can tell. It's too long.
These are feet. Correct. Plantigrade feet. Certainly big feet, but it's certainly not a digitigrade animal. It's not walking on its digits at all.
You think it's walking flat-footed?
Definitely walking flat-footed.
Wasn't long until some people got a hold of me and wanted me to go examine that skeleton and see if I thought it was the remains of what had been seen around this part of the country so much. Well, when I got over there and looked it over, I found something very, very interesting.
Looking at the thing in the pictures there, as best you can tell, it's the only thing I can think of that would compare to would possibly be a gorilla. Your larger mountain types, but now it's definitely a humanistic type deal with the back feet with the heel like that. I don't know of anything but a human that has a heel like that on it. All the other animals, your bear, your cats, first place, your cats don't really have what you call a heel. The only other thing be your bear. And they don't protrude like that. So I don't know. It's a humanistic form as far as I can tell.
The pelvis is what I'd really like to be able to see a little bit better. But the hands and feet are very primate looking. It's an opposable thumb there. Right. Yeah. I can see the thumb, see the long fingers and the long hand. That's more gorilla-like.
Very strange skeleton, but at least this one you can recognize as being something from this planet. At least it has feet and phalanges and all the bits and pieces that you'd hope for.
This thing was the right size. Its hair was the right color and the right length. It was capable of taking the long strides that this creature had proved that he could do around here.
In my 32 years of taxidermist, I haven't ever seen anything like that. I really haven't. And I've skinned a lot of animals, and the heel and the foot is impressive. It almost designates something as walking upright.
The animals that eat all the meat off the bones. And it was so fresh that it didn't even stink yet. It hadn't even started stinking. And it was still a blood color. And they had strained all the meat off the bones and they were still intact, except its head was gone and the wolves was what had been eating on it. And after we got some expert help in on it, we was told that its head would be the first thing that animals could take loose from its body. And the head never was found, as far as I know.
It's amazing. That's amazing, I'm telling you.
I'd be very surprised if wolves had removed the head. The head does remove from the body very easily, but the only material in the head that's available for a scavenger to eat would be the brain. And if this animal is as large as it looks like it is, that skull would have been very thick and very difficult for the wolves to get into. Most scavengers go after the viscera first, the guts, and remove those. And once that has been removed, they'll dismember an animal and take back leg bones, arm bones, or something to a den. And yet I notice in this, all the appendages are still present. So I have a hard time believing that scavengers have been to work on this.
It's everybody to his own guess.
It's certainly interesting. It's definitely not human. Certainly I wouldn't want to make a decision as to what it is right now. There's plenty of other further analysis that could be done back in the laboratory. Well, certainly it is a very large animal. That's plain to see. And I can say for certain that it's not human. Again, if we had the vital bones that are not here, such as the skull and the distal bones of the extremities, then that would give us a pretty good idea as to what we have. And certainly it is a big creature, not human, but at this point, without further examination, I can't say as to what species it is.
In order to further examine the carcass and try to identify a specific species, the remains were loaded and taken to the coroner's office in Bossier City, Louisiana. Hopefully, there, more could be learned about the remains. Once the remains arrived at the lab, testing and identification began immediately. As with all remains, photographs were taken from every possible angle. Once the photos were taken, the lid was removed. An offensive odor was released into the air.
You were asking me why I felt like these remains were not human. Although there are some similarities with regard to this possibly being human, there are other inconsistencies which would make me realize that this in fact is a non-human remains. First of all, the scapula or shoulder blade of a human is much smaller. You see the broad blade of this scapula and the large muscle attachments. It's just absolutely inconsistent with that of a human. If we look at the vertebra, this being an entire human backbone, you see that it's only about 19 or 20 inches in length, as opposed to the vertebrae here, which begins in this area and ends in this area. It measures almost 50 inches. Another inconsistency with regard to this being human is the pelvis. The pelvis begins here and it ends here. It's very long and narrow. However, with the human pelvis, you see a short and broad pelvic basin. It's very rounded, shallow. So there are three absolute inconsistencies with regard to this being human.
So you could say this is not a human.
This is definitely not a human.
Once determining that the remains were not human, X-rays of the remains were taken to locate any marrow which could assist the process of DNA identification. Next, a team of university biologists were brought in to examine the carcass, and after an exhaustive and thorough examination, no known species could be positively identified.
Where did you mark off the last of the cervical, or the last of the thoracic, sorry? Now we want to take that one all the way out, yeah. Okay, I've got 51 centimeters, 1 foot 8 inches. Let's move back to the legs, femurs, right next to the patella there. Femur junction. Okay, we're looking at about 35 centimeters, 1 foot 2 inches, 14 inches. Let's go down the leg, go down to the calcaneus, and we'll go back up to junction here in the femur. And we have 36 centimeters, about 14 and a half inches. Finally, let's do the metacarpals. All the metacarpals here. Up there, I can't read that.